All right, guys, welcome in. It is Unpaid with Sean Salisbury and Adam Sager as well. Got so much to cover today as we got Thursday night football and a great football weekend ahead. Stags, I want to open today first off with, and next week we got a lot going on in the hatred of the Ryder Cup. When I say hatred, the love of the Ryder Cup, but also the what it's going to look like and sound like there. I imagine a lot of home teams and sports would like to have what's going to happen at the Ryder Cup next week. Passionate golf fans, great venue. We'll get into that next week. But I want to start with this first. And I meant to mention it yesterday, but we get so into stuff. That's the great thing about 5 days a week is that Peyton Manning on his Manning cast was talking about him. I think it was on the Manning cast, or maybe it was he was a guest on a show, but I think it was his Manning cast because I just saw the clip. I didn't see the show. And he is so spot on. And I don't know if you have it, Triple E, but I can read it here and tell you exactly what's said. But Manning was talking about halftime adjustments and how everybody talked. Oh, they'll go in and you come out and you throw a touchdown pass, second half halftime adjustments. Then all that time you got to go in there and you could maybe plug some tape into the first half. Right. Boom, you're making halftime adjustments, right? Well, he said this, and Triple E will try to pull that up. It says, I don't think I ever made a halftime adjustment in my 18-year career. It's the biggest myth in football. The halftime adjustments, you eat a couple of oranges and use the restroom. He is spot on. Come in at halftime, I would always get a candy bar or two, Nestle's Crunch from my equipment guys. They handed it to me and walked in. It was like to get that extra burst of energy. That was number one. Bam, candy bar or two, depending on how hungry you were. Now, and to sustain the, sugar, the energy, and Triple E's got it. And Manning said that about the adjustment, about that you don't do anything. You go in, you grab something, you maybe eat an orange, or if you're hungry like I did, you eat a candy bar while your guys are going pee, guys are taking a piss, guys are getting ready to chime in, going in and retaping an ankle. Everybody's kind of just, shoulder pads come off. If you want to change the undershirt because you're sweat, put another one on, whatever it is. It's maintenance time. Coaches will go up to the front. All the coaches, they'll meet for a second, and defense will go into their side of the locker. Offense. Now, there is a whiteboard in there usually. Mm-hmm. And the whiteboard was used during pregame for 10 o'clock on a noon game. 10 o'clock, arrive at stadium. 10:15, tape. 10:25, first group out for warm-up. Boom, you go down, and then you put 11:55, bam, team goes out. All those things, right? And then you come back in at halftime, and you're either getting your ass kicked or you're winning. It's a football game. And by the time you've taken a piss, you've talked to – maybe you're talking to a receiver, they're saying something, or somebody's F-bombing because you're getting your ass kicked. Right. And after you've done your maintenance on your wristbands and jersey and ankles and whatever it is you're getting, then all of a sudden, coordinator stands up in the front and says, hey, man, listen, they're probably going to play a lot of cover two, so let's be ready. Had a good first half. Let's go. Guys are still eating orange or drinking. If somebody's a coffee guy, whatever it is. And then get your pads on. Then the head coach comes out, hey, let's go out. Second half, this is our time. Let's go kick their ass. Boom, done. Peyton Manning is spot on. At no time. Now, when you say adjustments, you go. So when we go out in the second half, it's not like you're not running out of that locker room thinking that is going to be beautiful. That is going to be that's going to be the play that turns this around, and we're going to approach it. Because when you make one of those plays, guess what they do? Well, on 3rd and 7, they beat two-man, so maybe I won't run two-man on 3rd and 7 the next time. Every now and again, a coach will say, listen, when we get into the red zone, and it may come to just the quarterback after they've tell them, the old motivational speech. Hey, man, if we get down in there, just be alert because they're playing 4 men weak, and they may try to bring it. So we can run toss strong there. If you see it, check the toss strong, and we'll run away from the pressure. That's it. Quarterback. Okay, cool. So and the quarterback will say, hey, man, alert pressure in here. We're on the 12, guys. They love the pressure, so be alert for an audible check here. Right. Whatever. I'm with Peyton. In my 10 years, I cannot remember sitting here today of taking a halftime adjustment, applying it in the second half, and having it go haywire. Halftime adjustment, just saying, be aware for this and go. The biggest adjustments are made in between series when you're looking at the quarterback staring at the either at the surface or the surface with still pictures on the surface where you're not running the video saying, oh, this is how they're lining up against this formation. Okay, boom, put your hat on, then take the hat off, put your helmet on next series. Peyton's right. Halftimes are the most overrated fucking thing in the history of sports. If it's too cold and you're freezing on the field, it's the worst because you go in and get them. I mean, you love it at the time, but you get a false sense of security. And there's Manning. It's a topic on Titans Twitter. It's a topic here too. Is that you're freezing? So Sags, you go in at halftime, false sense of security. You're in there, you're warming up. The second you walk back out, you're visible again. So it's 20, it's 10 below, or you're playing in 8-degree weather and the wind's howling in Lambeau Field. It's like in Chicago off the lake. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Then you go, so you come back out. So there's that false sense. And now the whole warm up, you got to get your ass in a hot tub to get yourself loose again. If you're hot and sweaty, you go in there, you kind of cool off, take all the shit off, and then you got to go back outside and say, damn, I got to deal with 100 degrees and 97% humidity.
Right.
There's those two. If you're getting your ass kicked, you go in, and all you do is mull it over, and you're like beating yourself up, saying, how are we going to fix this? If you're kicking their ass, you want halftime to be the end of the game. And so you can go in there and say, man, we're up by 30. No, pizza. And then all of a sudden they get 3 touchdowns in the second half. You're like, oh, get back out there and score. There's nothing to it. It sucks. And you don't have time to do shit while you're in there. So it's kind of a teaser. And you can't do anything football-wise. And it takes 3 minutes to walk to the locker room from the field if it's a long walk. And then it takes a couple minutes to get back and get warm. So in truth, remember, it's 12 minutes. So in truth, you're in there, 6 minutes? You ain't getting shit done adjustments at halftime. If you couldn't adjust for 6 days during the week on the practice field, you ain't adjusted in 6 minutes at halftime. The adjustment is, I am getting my ass handed to me. I'm either going to fix it or I'm going to continue to get my ass handed to me, or I'm kicking their ass and I'm going to keep kicking their ass with the way we're doing things. So halftime adjustments, Peyton's spot on. And he saw far more plays than I did, but I can tell you, I've never left the locker room saying, what an adjustment. We are going to kick their ass in the second half, ever. Now, you may do this. Hey, we've run the ball. And the right guard's getting hammered or pulled, or you can't. The outside, somebody's disrupting the game. You're playing Reggie White, and it's like every time we've run at him, we're averaging 1.3 yards a carry. So the adjustment simply when you get over there before you go out, hey, we're going to run away from Reggie White now.
There you go.
And you didn't need the adjustment. When you walked in, you told the coach, hey, can we quit running over there? Reggie, we're getting our ass kicked. Can we adjust and change the formation and go weak away from Reggie White? Now, Lawrence Taylor was opposite. Hey, can we run at Lawrence Taylor and get at his legs and maybe piss him off, but have him thinking about that? Run away from Lawrence Taylor. He was faster and better than your running back, so he'd chase you down from behind. So halftime adjustments, it's the most overrated bullshit in the world. The only thing you're thinking about is, are we getting our ass kicked? How do I fix it? How do I fix my job? Are we kicking their ass? How do we continue this? And it's cold or it's hot. How do I get warm to go back out, or how do I cool off to go back out and deal with 100 degrees and 98% humidity? Nothing else.
And it's crazy because you think about the college game. The college games, the halftime seem like they take forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, NFL, it's like a commercial break. They run through the highlights of every game, a commercial break, and we're back. Like, we're back to the game. That's what it feels like. And college, you're just sitting there, and it's just like, well, when the hell is this game going to restart? No wonder these games take 3.5 to 4 hours, because our halftime's half of it, it feels like. It just takes so long. But what?
Shanks, so how think about that real quick. Think about that real quick before you ask your question. You talked about it, and think about it. If you go down, let's say you're watching on TV, and it's not the Super Bowl, which takes an hour and a half, so we can watch Beyonce dance on stage or Morgan Wallen sing, right? It's like, damn, okay, there's a halftime show, and we'll see you in 90 minutes. Or you just played a whole new game, so you're screwed in the 30. I mean, trying to get yourself back into football mode. Thank goodness it's the Super Bowl. But another thing with that is that you with the halftime is the NFL get up and go get a beer, go to the restroom, and kind of dick around at the house for a few minutes, and you get back and there's 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. You say, wait a minute, it's been that quick? They're already back on the field? You're exactly right about that. Halftime, they're showing 400 million highlights back in the studio set, And we've covered Slippery Rock just scored on Bowling Green, and Gus Davis Adolphus has got a chance to get Tennessee Chattanooga, among other highlights. And they've covered a full pregame show in 15 minutes or 20 minutes at halftime, but it seems like it's elongated. So what was your question?
Do you think now, like halftime, you go in, you're an NFL team, you go in, like, are there TVs around that have highlights going on of other games? So you're kind of like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? No, none of that.
The big reason why they don't put TVs in there is so you don't get, oh man. Now, during practice, like if you're practicing and you have your Saturday walkthrough at the end of the season when there's Saturday games, in the NFL in December, you go in there. Like it happened when we were in Minnesota. We were in playoffs. We were playing on Sunday. We won the division. We went in there on Saturday. We people are playing cribbage and doing all the stuff on our Saturday flop dick where you're just walking through the final tune-up at home. You go out to practice, take your 45 to an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is, come back in. We left to go out to practice because we were playing the next day at home. We went out to practice, and Buffalo was getting their ass kicked by Warren Moon's Houston Oilers.
Right.
Dude, we came back in, and it was like a 30-point difference. It's like, and it was the playoff game, that Frank Wright game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what in the world? What?
Yeah.
Because that was early, and it's like, you got to be kidding. No, this is a misprint. Because it was one-sided one way, and you came back and said, they did what? And then you start looking at the highlights after practice. You're like, you've got to be kidding me. No, they don't put him in there. But you could watch the game in their day before. There's a TV in the card room, down there where you're eating lunch. But no, as far as in the locker room, in the NFL locker rooms, home games. Now I don't know, Segs. You know how stadiums now have it where like they practice where they play, where their locker for practice is their locker for their games. But where I played in my career. The only place we had where we practiced, I played was when we won my Grey Cup in my 2 years in CFL. Yeah. We had our locker rooms was like an underhand a rock to the playing field. So they were there. We practiced there, and we didn't have an indoor practice facility when it was. And in Winnipeg in November, it's about -30 wind chill, and we had to practice outside. We never had an indoor, and we never missed practice. It was like, well, we'll take this off. It's too cold. I remember they took and had to shovel out. We had 20 yards to practice with one year and you could see the snow all piled up behind us. It was that cold. The snow couldn't melt. And we had to practice outdoors. So talk about learning how to be a good, bad weather player. You either dealt with it or you were, and Mike Riley, the former SC coach and, Charger head coach, who was phenomenal, and Nebraska coach, he was our coach there. That's how we did it. But no, there's no TVs in there for that reason, Sigs. Oh man, we're getting our ass kicked. I wonder how our opponent's doing that we're playing next week. Because then you get caught up in that. Although it might be a good idea because then you're either pissed because somebody said something about your team at halftime, or you're watching another team and you're kind of taken away from the distract. But you're not even in there long enough. A commercial break's going to last longer than you're in there when you really get the time between the walks. So there is zero. If you're making adjustments at halftime, then you've been in a locker room that I haven't seen because most of these, most of them are just scrambling around. And if some guys stay in the training part of the room, where it's taken them 9 minutes to get treatment. They haven't heard a damn adjustment anyway. And it may be somebody who's an integral part of what you're trying to get done.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. You always hear it. And I feel like because you do see some teams come out and it feels like they made adjustments, but it's just kind of it took them some time to get their feet under them in the game. And that's kind of just the reset they needed to come out and go.
You've had 12 minutes to mull over how bad you're playing.
Yeah.
And so it starts to sink. He said, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of getting beat, or we're kicking their ass, and the confidence is the guys are pumped up in the locker room before they go out, right? But there's not adjustments. It's a self-adjustment, Segs, to be honest with you. Because in truth, the adjustment is if the right guard's getting hammered in that game or the left tackle, you don't need to tell us we need adjustments. Everybody knows what's going on. And so he's got to fix his game, right? So, but you're right. Sometimes you're like, but that's kind of the nature of all sports. You're getting your ass kicked. You usually respond quick. Normally, you at least come out because you're embarrassed and straight pride.
Right.
And you start maybe executing things a little better. Or if you're a late starting team, you're a good second half team. Happens. But rarely anybody that's you don't have any. Okay, so if you adjusted, let's say you adjusted one thing, one formation, and you hit it for a touchdown, it may have meant the difference. But halftime adjustments, plural, Never happens. You don't have time to, and plus guys are too big on, okay, I got it. They're still focused on the game plan. Now, this has happened. Hey, listen, we didn't run this in practice this week, but let's make this adjustment off the slant route. Let's run sluggo, the double move go. Okay, got it, slant and go. We'll use that because they're squatting on the slant.
Yeah.
And if you get into a certain point, you say, okay, here's a good time to use it. But Peyton's so right. Little hyperbole, because I'm sure I'm sure he was the one coaching guys at halftime, walking around saying, hey, listen, man, we got to get this stuff done. The coach ain't telling Peyton anything. So it's just simply, what kind of pride you got, man? We're winning or getting our ass kicked. What kind of pride you got to go finish it?
Well, and one last thing for me is, how the coordinators couldn't even get down there fast enough. By the time they get down there from, the box, it takes them 5 to 10 minutes to go and get down there. And then they get down there and then it's like, all right, we're putting our pads back on. Let's go back out.
And here's what you'll see sometimes is if all of a sudden the defense comes out and they're on the field with like 35 seconds to go.
Yeah.
You'll start to see the offensive guys gather their shit and start to head towards the elevator because they get a head start, or, because you're right. Yeah. It's to set up there in that press box, the guys in the press box, it's a distance. The only risk of that is the team's got the ball on their own 35, quarterback lays it on the ground at the 22-yard line, and your coordinator's on his ass on his way in. You're like, whoa. Then you just, hope you got something in the game plan. But normally they all leave, and you're exactly right. By the time they get in there, we're 4 minutes, 5 minutes in, man. You're 3 minutes away from having to go back out, and they got to pee and do that. They got to talk to their other coaches to find out why their group's not doing their thing or they are. So, listen, you got 6 days to do it and some adjustments on the sidelines. Halftime's not the elixir for your ass kicking. I got news for you.
Well, I don't think we'll need too many halftime adjustments for the Bills tonight when they face the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. They're still, I just checked literally seconds ago, they're still an 11.5-point favorite at home. The Buffalo Bills are. The over,
which means a 14.5-point favorite, Segs, because they get 3 points as well.
You get 3
in my mind.
And the over/under has jumped to 50.5 from 49.5, so just up a point. But is there anything you think the Dolphins can do to stay in this game? Tua hasn't looked good this season. Tyreek Hill, you could just see is angry. Every time Tua misses a throw by 10 yards, he's throwing his hands up, jumping around. Mike McDaniel sounds like he's not even involved with the way he talks, like with reporters and stuff. It's like, what is this guy on? Like, what has he been drinking? Has he been doing a little something else?
Right.
Like, it's just nothing looks good in Miami right now. Not the defense, not the offense, not the coach, not the coaching staff. Nothing is going right for the Miami Dolphins. And now, hey, you get to face one of the top 3 teams in football at home with Josh Allen playing like Josh Allen always does. And he always kicks your ass anyways. So, I don't know. Do you give it any kind of chance to Miami?
The chance,
at least if they show up, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't miss the team bus and have a chance. Right. That's 1. 2 is see if you can kidnap and put a ransom on Josh Allen so he's not playing.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a joking manner, but you get my point.
Can you watch your rhetoric?
Oh, yeah, my tone? Yeah, my rhetoric. It's what it is? That you know what that's called? That's political. I'm inciting political violence and saying, go kidnap. You joke around. If all of a sudden Buffalo gets beat and Josh Allen missed the game, that's Sean's fault because he said to go kidnap him, and I want an investigation into kidnapping.
I will be the first one to call CNN on your ass.
Because once you get it to them, it turns fake anyway. So go ahead, send it to MSNBC while you're at it.
Right now, like
I'm calling for you to look into. Sean might have kidnapped Josh himself because he bet on Miami, right?
Yeah. Check his bank account.
Yeah, first off, you're going to try to kidnap Josh Allen. You better bring a good supply of body bags because he might whoop your ass on the field and office. Who knows? But yeah, man. Yeah, of course, Segs. It's the end. Listen, just when we say this, it becomes the fourth quarter, 31-27. You've seen it, right? My thing with Miami is how can they play any more pathetic? Honestly. So, and if you have pride, it's a divisional game. You've got to have some kind of pride that says, and plus, Segs, people don't discount the national TV thing. The national TV is either going to bring out the choke factor in players, or it brings out the, okay, there's some pride here. We're not doing this again. Because if it's really ugly on television and in person, they get their ass kicked, the roar, it's going to become a roar for what's going on in Miami about, okay, fire sale and get rid of the head coach. You're going to hear that. You're already hearing it. So I say, yeah, they got a chance, because the one thing they do or can do is if they throw on time and get their speed in space. Now, they sure aren't utilizing it very well. When you get that speed in space, that gives them a chance, because they got really good team speed and they're athletic. But in truth, I don't know. They're not going to tackle anybody. And the truth of the matter is, if you're Buffalo's offense, you're going to be playing downhill the whole game, Segs. Running the ball downhill at them, Josh Allen's legs. To me, the one way to do it is you got to do something special, meaning block a punt in the red zone in their end and get a short field. Right. 2 is hopefully, all of a sudden Allen scrambles out, somebody hits him, the ball's laid on the ground, and you pick it up, and now you get your next possession at the 15-yard line.
Right.
I don't think they can line up, go 85 yards 5 times in a game and beat Buffalo. I do believe Buffalo can line up and go 4 times 80 yards and beat Miami that way. So I think it's going to have to be something on special teams happens or defensive score, and Buffalo helps you. Because if they just line up and play football, the Miami Dolphins are an inferior football team and coaching staff right now to the Buffalo Bills. Give me Buffalo, and I would take Buffalo to cover. I would. This feels like a 41-13 game to me, Segs. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give Miami more credit than they've earned this year, because they do have some weapons, but I don't see how they muster it up in all 3 phases of the game and give what I'd consider a really top-flight Super Bowl contender with the best player in football right now, in Josh Allen. I don't give him much of a chance. And it all boils down to one thing, Segs. They're soft as the down feathers in your pillow, brother. They are. And you can't fix soft, man. You can't. Off season, you can by going getting different players or a different approach coaching-wise, a different culture. But if you're looking for physicality changes during a season, where are you finding now? All of a sudden, guy's going to wake up and say, I'm tougher one day. If you're a heavyweight boxer and you're just not tough enough to take the punches, you got a glass jaw, guess what? You're going to have a glass jaw the 3 fights later. Same here. The Miami Dolphins have a glass jaw when it comes to physicality, period. And it's sad because some of the parts are really friggin' good, but the whole sum of it all is just a bunch of guys when it's the sum of the team. And so it's a glass jaw versus a knockout team that can punch you smack dab in the face on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I was just kind of looking, at Buffalo's roster and stuff. And some of these games you kind of look at and you see, okay, what could Buffalo work on? But, I mean, you think about it, Josh Allen in the passing game is really, really good. Keon Coleman is showing why he was drafted higher in the draft as a wide receiver. Shakir keeps playing well. Kincaid is really good. Dawson Knox helps you out. And then James Cook has become one of the top.
He's a friggin' dangerous machine, dude. He's a player.
So really nothing screams like, hey, we need to work on this. This is something we can do. This is an inferior opponent. We want to work on the run game, doing certain things. And maybe I'm sure there's things they want to work on, but glaring things, nothing glaring about what Buffalo needs to work on. And defensively, they're just really damn good. You just kind of let Ed Oliver do his thing. You just kind of let Milano make plays from the linebacker spot. And it's just, they're such a sound football team. Now, Baltimore did put up a lot of points against them. So if there is one thing, maybe Miami can get in a bit of a shootout if they can. I think that would be the only way if Tua's really on and they show, hitting some big plays early, giving them some confidence. Maybe that's how it stays inside that 11.5 number. But Baltimore is just so good, and Miami just seems like such a mess right now.
Yeah, Segs, and you hit it. First of all, you saw the numbers. Josh Allen's like 12-2 against Miami. Yeah. He dominates them.
Kills Miami.
I mean, he's the MVP of the league against Miami.
Yeah.
Their damn self is one. You're right. It's going to see. You may even hit a big play or two against Buffalo, but the grind it takes for 60 minutes, they're not good enough to hang around.
Right.
That's why it's going to take something special, because they are now. Listen, Segs, if this score starts to creep up, if it's a high-scoring first half, Miami probably will hang around, because that'll just tell you the tempo of this game's different, and it's one of those Jim Kelly, right. Dan Marino. I'm not saying Tua and Josh Allen or Dan and Jim at this stage of their careers yet, but you can get into that shootout that we've seen in the past with guys just letting it rip, and that could happen. And I think that's a low-scoring game. They've got no chance. Right. I mean, even if Buffalo scored, you could see if Miami was playing the best defensive game of their life, 17-0, 17-3, in a high-scoring game, that means that somebody's taking a slant to the house because they got speed. But to me, if you're Miami, here's the problem: you're trying to lend yourself to being finesse in this game. I hate to say that, Segs. Yeah. You realize perimeter is the only way you can win the game. Mm-hmm. And you're playing into what we all think about you. You're too soft to dominate at the line of scrimmage. And on both sides, where you're hammering somebody and you beat them into submission, body blow them. They need a quick they need a knockout shot where they get that ball. They're up 17-0 in the first half. And then Buffalo has to change a little of what they do. And if Buffalo's up 17-0 in the first quarter, they're going to start feasting. You know that.
Yes.
And they're going to, it's going to go get sideways in a hurry. So high scoring game. If this game's in the 30s or below combined,
right?
This is 30-10, 30 or the 40s, or if it's low. If this game starts to creep towards the number, you're saying, okay, maybe, unless Buffalo does what they do and hangs 40 plus on them, you're saying, okay, this ended up, 37-20. Got a late touchdown. The finesse teams have a chance but they have to beat Buffalo that way. They're begging on we ducked and you missed us once and I came back with a counterpunch and knocked you out. Even though I landed it a little bit lucky, I'll take it because we got a chance now. They can't line up 4 quarters and punch with them. They're going to have to stick and move. And unfortunately, you can only run so far because they will bottle you up on the defensive side and make it really tough on those receivers.
All right, let's say you mentioned a score earlier, like a 41-10 type game. Let's say that happens.
If it's the game we normally say,
yes,
right?
Bills just come out and they just stomp them from the beginning. And then we move south a couple days later. We move south to Miami and we watch the Florida Gators, who are equally as a mess as the Miami Dolphins. We see them go down to Miami to play the Hurricanes, and we get the same kind of game. Similar score, just an ass kicking from the Hurricanes, who are playing really well. Carson Beck's playing really well with his new team.
Got some Heisman Trophy odds favoring him now. Close to the top of the tier, yeah.
But what are the odds we see if those two things happen, two blowouts against the teams that are a mess? What are the chances we see both Mike McDaniel and Billy Napier fired this weekend or by Monday, let's say?
I would say slim.
Okay.
By Monday. But I would say Florida's got
too early for McDaniel. Yes. Okay.
No, I think it's too early for Napier because didn't he get a new contract? Didn't he get a new contract? And I think when you see that, you say, okay, Billy's done we started to look like we're supposed to look last year at times, right? And he gets a new contract. I almost think you'd say, let's wait. Let's see how this shapes up in October. So I don't think Napier lose now. Segs, if you're talking about like you said, that it's a 44 to 10 beat down, and it's embarrassing for University of Florida. Maybe put it this way: there's no NFL and college team in the same state anywhere near the danger or the hot seat that those two are on at the same time in the same state. No doubt. You're right about that. I would actually think that the patience with McDaniel is growing thin because even more so because of the way they get their ass beat. Meaning the physicality part, like you can't change the culture, man. This is who it is. And I know that would seem odd because NFL coaches are usually the ones to go with an interim coach more often than college coaches are, for the most part. So, but if you're asking me if this happens 2 or 3 weeks in a row and both still have their job and they're just underachieving to the point where it's killing recruiting on one end and the Miami Dolphins are just humiliating themselves on the other and there's no sign to get better, I could actually see both being done by the midway point of both seasons or sometime in October. This would be one more, put it this way, Six, this and one more like it if it's a badass whooping. The trend is too long for both. You're probably going to make a change because with the Florida, you know what they're going to say? We're not maximizing our quarterback who threw 5 picks against LSU.
Right.
When it's Miami, you're just going to say, as a roster, we're not maximizing shit. We're supposed to be a playoff team, and we just can't play in cold weather. How much better is it going to get the later the season goes? Because the colder it gets, the more chance you got to beat the Miami Dolphins in a run game in late November, December. I don't know if both make it through the season, but if you're saying here's a futures bet on Kalshi, here's a futures prediction, only one's going to make it, I would take the yes, that only one's going to make it. I would take that chalk. If you say 2, 1, or none, I would take 1 on my bet. That would be my one. But I think I could lose out because I think there's a chance by the end of the year that both have new coaches.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I just looked up Billy Napier's contract. His salary for 2025 is 7.4, and then he's owed another 22.8 over the next 3 seasons.
Makes it tough, Segs, to just jump out and do it right now because you're hoping that your quarterback and him can turn it down. The thing about that, Segs, think about this. Going into last year, before he got the contract, there was talk about Billy getting fired, and then they turned it around. It's like, bam, one, and kept, started taking care of their business. So I think that's bought him a little time, maybe the extra month that you're not. But if it continues to look like this in the offense, and he will not give up the play calling duties, yet, unless that's changed this week, but he's refused to do it. And his quarterback threw 5 picks, and Lagway's lagging behind what we thought he was going to be this year, as are a handful of quarterbacks in college football, right? At big places, Texas being one, Florida being another. 2 of the 5 best that they thought going in were going to be those 2, and neither one of them's playing like one of the 5 best players at their position in the country, and it's not close. Right now, you'd take Mateer and Beck over Manning and Lagway. Going in, you wouldn't have taken either over the other 2, just on the predictions of where they're going in the draft and what it's going to look like at the end of the year. So, yeah, I think they're both going to struggle to make it, but when you sign somebody that quick and quit on them that quick, even though optics say, damn, Billy, you got to get this turned around. Clemson and Florida and Texas are 3 pretty shocking teams. And you know what? Florida's schedule gets brutal, Segs.
Yes.
Florida's schedule's not easier. So what would you mean? Hell, it'd be miserable on an interim coach to have to come in there and try to fix it. Their schedule's brutal. So I think, though, with the contract that you're going to give Billy a little more time. Unless Miami Dolphins turn it around big time, I don't see how Mike McDaniel makes it through the season, or if he does make it through the season, is doing the draft with his general manager for the Miami Dolphins next year, back to San Francisco as an assistant, possibly, if that's the case.
Yeah, and so Billy Napier's buyout is 85% of whatever's remaining at that time. So after this season, his buyout is just shy of $20 million. But
so if that's 10% of 20 million is 20, you're talking about 15, 16 million bucks.
Yeah. So you mentioned the schedule. They play at Miami this week. Then they welcome the struggling Arch Manning and Texas Longhorns down to Gainesville. Then they go back to Texas to play Texas A&M, home against Mississippi State, who just beat a ranked Arizona State team on that crazy last play. And then they get the Bulldogs of Georgia. Then they go to Kentucky, at Ole Miss, home against Tennessee, home against Florida State. So if you want schedule that's very, very hard, look no further than the Florida Gators.
That's as difficult a schedule as you're going to find. And I don't know what the power rankings say about it. That's as difficult a schedule as there is in the country. There can't be 3 teams with a tougher schedule. There can't be.
And that's where I come back to where, yes, college football, you get to make your own schedules. You get to call this school, outside of your conference, you get to call this school and say, hey, let's play. But Notre Dame, Yes, they played 2 hard-ass opponents, right? First 2 weeks, lose both games. Now they don't play. The best team they play is your USC Trojans the rest of the season, the last 10 games.
And we still don't know who they are defensively just yet.
So you play USC, the best. That's the best team by a little bit, in my opinion. Yeah, Boise's okay. You got a couple decent games in there. But when you look at the schedule of Notre Dame, then you look at the schedule of Florida or another SEC team, and you say, how do these 2 teams play for the same playoff? That's kind of in my head. That's why,
you're talking about how does Notre Dame with their schedule keep getting a semi-hall pass with that?
Yes. Like, I just feel like Notre Dame should be in a conference. They should be in the Big Ten or the SEC. I don't care which one. Hell, join the SEC or ACC if you really want to.
I could care less if they were in the ACC, any of the 4. I know, right now I'm at the point now where I'm saying, listen, and then we can stop all the nonsense because the naysayers are always going to hammer Notre Dame for that, right? They just are. And the people who love Notre Dame may not want the conference because they like the fact that if it gets down to 2 teams, records equal, the committee is going to lean to Notre Dame because it's a brand, man. It's a freaking brand. And they'll tell you they don't, but that's bullshit. They're in that. And listen, what Coach Freeman did for that, what he's done at Notre Dame in last year was phenomenal. They had a great year. But they're not running the same. You're right. So Florida goes and runs the table in Notre Dame, and they end up with the same record from here on out. You're like, how do they belong in the same playoff I belong in after looking at the teams I've had to play compared to them? No doubt. And I actually am a big proponent of, I think sometimes a quality loss is better than a ass-whooping win against a team that doesn't belong in the schedule. I do. I actually go in thinking, it's kind of like the credit report, Segs. Think about a credit report. You work your whole life to get your credit right. And so you have a credit card you open up. You're building credit, right? And you build that credit, and you got $5,000 on it. And you got 2 of them. And you look at your credit. Why did my credit report go down? Well, you're carrying too much credit card, your monthly payment debt, right? Whatever. Yeah. Whether you're starting out, or for some, if it's $200,000 on their American Express, whatever it might be.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're saying, well, how does this credit thing work? When you're first starting out, you're fresh out of college, right? I got to build my credit, right? And then all of a sudden you're saying, well, then you pay it off. You got a bonus, or you paid the $5,000 off, and you still get punished. You're like, well, what? I got punished for this? Yeah, I got punished for this. And then the other side of it is then you say, well, I don't quite understand this. That I paid it off, which is quality. Why am I getting punished? Then you have that same thing and you pay off part of it. Oh, we're going to give you credit for it, right? Yeah. Your credit score goes up. I'm like, the concept is fucking weird to me. I don't have any debt. What? Well, you need to have some debt on your credit. What do you mean I have debt? I paid it off. Okay, and I'm sure I'll charge something again, but right now I paid it off. Why is it? It's the same thing here. When in doubt, Notre Dame's got credit in the coffers, dude. It doesn't matter. Their loss, their victory against the team they're supposed to beat will always hold more value than Florida getting beat by 3 points by Alabama or Georgia, whoever it might be. And it's just the weirdest. It's the weirdest concept. But I know a loss is a loss. But you tell me what's better, a team that schedules, that has Florida's schedule in the eyes of them. Yeah, we hold it in high regard. But if you lose to Texas A&M by a point and Notre Dame beat whoever, South Dakota State, as good as their program is,
right?
I do believe in quality losses. I do. You know what I'm saying? And I also believe in if you got your ass kicked by a team you weren't supposed to lose to, that holds more weight than just a loss. That's a loss and a quarter, dude. Sorry, that's a loss and a quarter for me, but I'm not on the committee. But what they should do is put athletic directors that are in the Power Four conferences on the committee. Oh, that's right. They already do. So Notre Dame's pull is as large as anybody's in the country, not named Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide when he was there. Reputation, history, blue blood, whatever it is, just like you're going to give Duke and Kansas the benefit of the doubt in college hoops, you're going to do the same for Notre Dame. They belong in a conference, and it's time. Yeah, it's overdue in their football team.
Yeah, definitely is.
And I got nothing but respect for Notre Dame's program. Right. I do. I love them. But let's face facts. They're always going to have an advantage that a lot of others don't. They just are.
Yeah. You mentioned just a few minutes ago a team that has not lived up to what we thought they were going to be this year, and that's the Clemson Tigers. And Dabo, he likes to talk, and he came out with some comments the other day when he was asked about how he's dealing with the negativity around the program after some lackluster play these last few weeks. And he went on to say, if they're tired of winning, they can send me on their way because that's all we've done is win. We've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking, is that good? I don't know if it's good or not. To win the league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory. In case y'all don't know, we'll be all right. We'll bounce back. And I would just say, if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games, you didn't believe in us anyways, so it don't matter. That's Dabo basically taking a shot at any Clemson fan that wants to doubt him, any college football analyst that wants to doubt him, any regular just your alma mater is Clemson. I mean, just anybody that wants to doubt Clemson, Dabo, he let you have it.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. No, and listen, I'll preface this. I don't need to qualify. I think Dabo's a hell of a guy and a hell of a coach. He has been. He's built something special at Clemson. But there's a few layers to this. One is, one of my favorite things is when he says, well, if you didn't believe in us at 0-2, you don't believe in us. No, that's wrong. Because we believed in you because the hype that was built up, you have good players, and you've got beat two weeks twice. Yeah. And we're looking at you saying, well, I did believe in you, but you have underachieved. Big underachieved. Like I said, the most physical, non-physical team in the country. Oh, they've got the line they had a handful of years ago. Remember when all those guys, Wilkins and all those guys were up front? Mm-hmm. Their front 7 dominate first round, second round picks.
Yep.
And everybody talked. We got freshmen that would be starting at every other place in the country that are going to be first rounders. Well, supposedly they were inching their way back to a dominant defensive front, and they got one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Cade Klubnik. And we're sitting there thinking, okay, this looks more like Clemson. And then when you play like a bottom of the barrel Big 12 SEC team, I don't care who you use.
Yeah,
we've changed our minds. It's not a matter of support; it's a matter of the eye test. And the eye test for Clemson sucks. They're not very good. Can they turn it around? Probably. The quarterback's good coach, great coach over the career. But what I gathered from this too is, first off, while he's got enthusiasm, Dabo is a sarcastic. He knows the answer he's giving you. Like when he says, "Is that good? Is that any good?" Mm-hmm. He's condescending. Let's put it that way. And I love him, but he is, especially in his press conferences. He has got rabbit ears as big as any college coach in the country. He does. He hears
very much so.
Everything. Now, when he said it, though, do you say, well, if they want to get rid of me, first off, I don't think the athletic directors come up and tap him on the shoulder and say your job's in danger. It's simply media and fans are wondering what the hell's going on, and rightfully so. But he took it so personal. It's like, it's basically saying, and there's a hidden message to this, in my opinion. Oh, I'm sensitive? Yeah. You're not on with us? Great. Then don't jump on later. You were never with us anyway. I'm a good coach. Just getting started at 55. And I'll tell you this, if they don't want to keep winning, I'm not done coaching. I'm not going to the beach. I'm 55 years old is what he said. He goes, I'm going to keep coaching. And you know what that message is to me? That he's been watching Alabama closely.
Yep.
And if Kalen DeBoer got fired, you know who their first call would be to on a buyout? Would be Dabo Swinney. Especially if Dabo said, you know what? I'm ready to go back to my alma mater, because all the time Saban was there, the heir apparent was going to be, or at least the narrative was Dabo Swinney. Sure. But Dabo's built such a great thing. 7 appearances, 4 national titles. He's built such a great thing. You want to be the guy after the guy, but you also want to say, well, like Vince Lombardi did with the Packers, like Belichick with the Patriots, Andy Reid with the Chiefs, Nick Saban with them, Roy Williams, Dean Smith at Carolina. What these guys are doing, Bill Self at Kansas, is you've been around long enough. You don't have to go do it at UCLA where John Wooden was. I can be the John Wooden at Kansas, right? If that's what we want to call it in a poor man's way, because nobody's John Wooden. So It's the same thing with Nick Saban. First off, you always want to be the guy after the guy, which would be Dabo Swinney or somebody else if Kalen DeBoer doesn't make it. So there's that hint of, you guys do know I'm an Alabama guy and I'm a really good coach. So if I'm the athletic director and the president of the school, I'm like, oh, why is he talking to us? We haven't had that conversation. Why is he so sensitive? While there is talk, you're not winning. You should probably just say, you know what? We should be criticized. We're going to get better. Hopefully we'll convince you guys we're a better team.
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere. I've been here long enough. I'm a Clemson Tiger, and we're building something special. But the sensitivity, you would tell your players, don't be emotional over this. Dabble wears it on his sleeve. But there was a sense of a little insecurity. You know, when guys are insecure, they talk more. They talk more. Yeah, and they keep trying to emphasize to you, was that good? Was that good? They're looking for validation and looking for approval. Dabo doesn't need our approval. He's a great football coach, a great spiritual man, and a hell of a recruiter. He's done it all. But Dabo's a great front runner on some of this too. And I don't mean that against it. It's not negative. Affectionate. Like I said, if I was an AD, I'm interviewing Dabo because what he's done to a program that the last time before him they won a national title was Danny Ford years and years ago at Clemson. Yeah. I mean, it was a long time ago. So he's been phenomenal. But don't think that the hidden meaning, and I'm telling you right now, when he's standing up there giving that press conference, you don't think he knows the Alabama situation as we sit here and speak? You're damn right he does. So, but the one thing you gather from this, passionate, sensitive, rabbit-eared, but wants to win, kind of projected what the fans or media are saying nationally on his own university. Yep. And the truth of the matter is they're not very good right now. And that's just that. Sometimes you can just step up there and raise your hand and say, I'm not doing a good enough job. We're getting our ass kicked and we got to get better. But Dabo gave the old, it felt like it's an I confess somebody else did it message. You know what I'm saying? I confess it ain't on me. Because if you guys want to get rid of this successful head coach and this program, I'm going to go somewhere else and kick somebody else's ass. And there's a place in Tuscaloosa that's reeling a little bit right now, even after a win. And, they got a great quarterback. Wouldn't it be great if I could go there and coach that guy? You know, don't think – now, he may never leave, but the guy after the guy. Don't forget that. The guy after the guy. And that guy's Nick Saban. You don't want to be the next guy. You want to be the guy after that because at least you got a fighting chance. So there you go.
It's interesting too because he talks about if you didn't believe in us, like you mentioned earlier, if you didn't believe in us, you never believed in us. Well, I mean, I just pulled up an NFL mock draft just to see. We got Cade Klubnik in the top 15. We've got TJ Parker, the edge rusher, in the top 15. We've got Peter Woods, the big defensive tackle. He's in the top 15 of the mock draft. And we have the cornerback Avion Terrell in the top 15 of the draft. So you have four top 15, four first-round talents, three of them on defense.
And as a quarterback, you may be a top 5 pick because they hold you in higher regard. Right.
And your quarterback was one of, if not the Heisman favorite coming into the season. And you guys are 1-2, losing a tough one to LSU. That was a hard-fought game. But then you
still lost, and it was still lost. You were at home, and you were at home.
And yes, you were at home. And then you go beat a Troy team that you should beat, and then you come back and lay it on the ground against Georgia Tech, a conference foe. So it's just, don't give me all your bullshit. Just like you said, just give me, we haven't played up to our standard. Cade's got to be better. Our defense has got to be better. But no, we need to let everybody know, like, I'm king around here because, I've been to 4 national championships. I've won 2. When was the last time you won? It's been a while.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence. It was the last time they won one of those. You know what's interesting? This also reeks of, don't tell me how rough the water is. Bring in the fucking ship, dude.
Yes.
Okay. Because you would give that speech to your players, right? As much as I like Dabo, and Segs, you mentioned all those top 15 type picks, which is as good a draft class on a school.
Right.
They going into the season, they were predicted to have as many or more than anybody drafted in the first round.
Yep.
So now maybe Dabo's sensitive because if his players are underachieving and they're not playing great, are we not so sure that they're not coaching them properly? I mean, sometimes you got to look at, okay, are the players, have they bought into what you're preaching? Because anybody with that kind of roster should not be reeling. No offense to a good Georgia Tech, a solid Georgia Tech team with a good quarterback, and you're supposed to be Troy. And they didn't defend their honor, like I said, against an LSU team that played well, but they were still on the road. So, and you were expected to beat them. You were favored in your building, and they were a top team. So with that, Say it feels like, man, underachieve. And I guess I get why Dabo's sensitive, but your sensitivity reeks of really insecure about your football team right now, because they are an underachieving group of guys right now. And Dr. J, you make a great point about the quarterback situation. Klubnik, while he's not dominating right now, we know he's a great talent. Arch and Lagway. Mm-hmm. Think about three teams who had, if you looked at NFL drafts, you mentioned Klubnik. Do you know who the three of the first four quarterbacks that were supposed to be taken if they came out this year were? Those three. Mm-hmm. And you know who the three guys right now we're questioning what's going on in Florida, not how good the potential production, but we're questioning every week what's going on with Arch, mechanics, the rest of it. And Klubnik, he's not playing like the first pick of the draft. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when you look at that, you're saying quarterback driven, every single high school, college, pro quarterback driven. They're not playing great, although it may not be just their fault, but we ask our quarterbacks to elevate the room. And unfortunately, right now, in none of those, Texas doesn't look like a top 10 team offensively. Right. Clemson does not look like a top 10 team offensively. And Florida, sure as shit, doesn't look like a top team offensively. And their schedule is only going to get worse. I don't know on that schedule how they win 7 or 8 games this year. I just don't.
I don't see how it works. And Dr. J also said the game past Jimbo Fisher. Is it doing that to Dabo? It's close, but I do think that Dabo, and the one thing he was criticized for by Clemson fans is the fact that he never used the transfer portal. Never. He just
That's
never
his fault, because the rules fit it. Yeah.
It was all about recruiting for him, and he wanted the young kids coming in, and he felt he could just keep doing it without bringing in transfers. Well, while he was also losing transfers. I mean, he lost a big defensive tackle to Michigan this year, Trey Williams, who's playing really well through the first few weeks for the Michigan defense. And he doesn't replace those guys. He just thinks young guys should step up. Well, he's starting to now bring in the transfers this past year, and he wants to develop that part of their program.
You know what's interesting, and you're speaking of Dabo still, right, Segs? There's one thing cut out.
Yes.
Is the interesting thing for me, too, is it reminds me of Krzyzewski when he was at Duke. Remember early about the one and done. You know, Calipari's doing all this at Kentucky. And Cal, I'm recruiting 8 guys that are the top 8 McDonald's All-Americans. There's 7 of them are going to play one and done, because the seventh man the second guy off my bench, my 7th man, is going to be a first-round draft pick.
Right.
The 8th guy's a freshman that when those guys are gone, will be the 3rd pick of the draft next year. Yeah. And so Cal just said, I'm building it. And they're going to do it at Arkansas. Keep an eye on, we talk about Texas Tech. And you already said, look at the Arkansas basketball program's NIL. When you think Calipari went to Arkansas because, well, it's Arkansas, it's SEC, and SEC's become a great basketball conference. But Cal goes there. You know why? Well, we got Waltons, and we got the Tyson Foods, and we got all these. We talked about Texas Tech money, what they're doing for football. Arkansas is doing the same thing, and they may do it for football as well. There's a ton of money there. They're tapping into it. And Calipari ain't going anywhere in college that is not going to give him every ounce of dollar like Dan Lanning at Oregon. Cal's not stupid. He knows that, just like he recruited one and done. Well, I got to get these players. The freshmen are better than the juniors. I'm going to get those cats. And Krzyzewski sat back and wasn't going to deal with all that. And then finally it's like, I either got to beat him or join him. The rules tell me I can do it. So he started getting them, and they started getting better, and that led to, a team in position to win another national title, right? Even though it wasn't. Let's see, did Hubert win not Hubert Davis, but did they win a national title post Krzyzewski? They've been in the final and close to. Well, last year they were in the final as well. I don't know if they've won. They've been in it, Segs. But what I'm saying is, you can see younger players are impacting them because they're not sticking around for years, so they're recruiting that one and done guy. If necessary, wasn't Bancaro a one and done guy? Bancaro was a one and done guy, right? Yes. So those guys. So the point is here, Dabo doesn't jump in. He's gonna get left behind. And I think it's a great point by Jersey Dolphins about the cringe comments by Dabo. And even though I know that Saban loves Kiffin, the ego does get involved. No, even though and Saban had him, but in order to get that job at Alabama, you got to fit that criteria of here's how we do things, right? Maybe Dabo's comments got to the point where if the job did come available at Alabama, they'd bypass saying, nah, a little too sensitive for what we do here. I don't know. But you still got it when a guy's had that kind of success winning. But if he goes there, he'd have to buy in, as all of them are going to have to if you want to keep up. The rules allow it. You got to buy into it. You can't – if you resist it, you're going to ego your way right out of the job. as good as he's been, because everybody's a what have you done for me lately? And we're an urgent college football, we're an urgent NFL. So I'm actually anxious to see how Florida, Clemson, I don't even know if Clemson plays this week, but Florida, Clemson, the Miami Dolphins, teams like the Houston Texans here. Oh, the Qs. And you know what? They're capable of big offensive games, right? So I'm curious in NFL, and there's a handful, even the Houston Texans here. I'm curious how they show up. And I'm curious if the Colts can keep up their shit, right? Yep. So there's a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big day of just previewing college, NFL, if any other stories going on. But one story I do want to get to before we get out of here today is the latest about Kawhi Leonard, because the story keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Pablo Torre continues to leak out stuff he's finding out every single day. Yahoo's gotten in on it now. But let me just kind of backtrack and say there's talk of that they were trying to circumvent the cap, the salary cap, the Clippers were. But
circumvent in this way means they're trying to cheat the cap, save
some money, spend it on another player for the bench or whatever it is. But supposedly Kawhi Leonard, when he was a free agent back, I think it was 2019, went to the Lakers, went to the Clippers, went to the Raptors, who he is with, went to one other team that I can't remember, and said, I want ownership stake. And this is through his uncle, Dennis Robertson, who kind of represents him in a lot of different ways.
And everything, right?
Yes. Right. So ownership stake, use of team plane whenever he wants it. So if someone else has it, nope, he wants it, he gets it. A brand new house, which we know in LA is a mansion that costs probably $15 million at least. And then he asked straight up, this is from Yahoo. This is how Yahoo put it. He asked for
reputable site.
Yes. No show endorsement deals. A certain amount of money. Like say he's supposedly got $7 million per year from this aspiration endorsement deal. So if it was $7 million, he said, I want $7 million basically for nothing. I just make it an
so no show deal, meaning you don't show up for what
you don't have to do anything. You just sign the contract.
You just get paid because you're
an endorser, but you don't have to go cut a commercial. You don't have to walk into a studio like we have at radio stations and sit there.
It's the old college job for recruits, right? Where you're watching the sprinklers come on. That's what this is.
Exactly. Yes. So that's what he asked for. And now Pablo Torre's found out all this and he's put it out there. And like I said, the story was shocking when it first came out, and then it kind of lost some luster. But over the last few days, it's back exploded because Mark Cuban's gotten involved, showing how the Clippers were able to circumvent the cap and what they were really doing.
He should know. He owned the Mavericks. He gets
exactly. So just a lot of stuff, and that now we have possible punishments for Kawhi and the Clippers. But we did talk about this last week, I believe. Does Kawhi asking for that stuff, does that just rub you the wrong way as a former player? As I don't care how good you are, like you asking, remember there was talk of Caleb Williams' dad supposedly asking for ownership stake if whoever he was drafted by.
Oh, I don't mind him asking for it, but I wouldn't give it to him. But go ahead, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, does it just bother you as a former player? Say if you're a Clipper and you say, Kawhi's asking for what? Well, like, I just got my salary and yeah, I got a few endorsements through my people, but now he's wanting the team to pay him extra money to not do anything. Like that kind of pissed me off. Oh, and by the way, dude's missed 45% of the games played since he signed this contract.
Now you're on to something as well with that. Siggs, you talk about branches and layers to this shit. Yes. One is Kawhi Leonard and Ballmer both need to be suspended for a significant amount of time. If you're going to suspend some dude for playing fantasy sports or betting $60 on a game or more, there's no it's just a different sin. If you say fuck and I say shit in front of a kid, we're still cussing, right? Mm-hmm. Or you cuss on air. The FCC doesn't come back to you and say, hey, man, you said the F-bomb, he said the S-bomb, both you can't say or drop a C-tail on the air, right?
Right.
The fine's still $250,000, dude. I don't care what your sin is. That's the sin. In this case, it's a big sin. Because you're manipulating, I mean, you're complete. And think about the layers you have to do to manipulate it and the owners involved. You got to set him down. The problem with suspending Kawhi Leonard is no big deal because that's load management he gets every year anyway. So, now he may not like it. Hey, we're going to suspend you for 30 games. What do I care? I'm going to miss 45 due to load management anyway. I'm going to give you 50 and I won't play a full game. Do I respect Kawhi Leonard's career? Absolutely. Has he been a great player? Hall of Fame? Absolutely. Championship, all that. I started to have disdain for the Kawhi Leonard situation at the end of the way he got out of San Antonio. And then when he goes back there, as much as I love Pop, and I hope Greg Popovich stays healthy and everything, and I know he's retired, and I mean this with all respect, but he's not above criticism still, is when he stands there and grabs the mic in the home arena and tells everybody to not boo Kawhi Leonard. Just shut up. Just stop it, okay? Go back and talk more politics. So leave that alone. So I started to get it there. Then he goes to Toronto, roundabout, perfect storm, wins the championship.
Yep.
But we've started to see – and I always looked at Kawhi as the quiet San Diego State, right, Segs? San Diego State.
Worked his ass off.
Great perimeter defender. Yeah, and he became a scorer and could do it all, a triple-double guy, scorer, defender, that he was a lockdown guy, a great perimeter defender. And then he got to the point where 25, 26 became – when they lost with Duncan and all those guys, he became the guy.
Right.
And I thought, okay, man. And he didn't say much. I'm like, man – other than that laugh, which was eerie, that we don't like, when we see all the gifts and stuff. But then it felt like things changed. That the star, they're going to give me nights off. I'm going to create nights off. At this stage of his career, he's not worth a free new house. Sorry to tell you. Or use of the team playing. I get it, but how much needle is he moving outside the team he's on? Good player. The problem is I don't get you for a full season ever. If you're going to criticize Joel Embiid, you're going to criticize guys that are hurt on a regular basis that just don't quite Anthony Davis, then you got to criticize a guy who's not only hurt but takes days off when he's healthy. And a lot of them, Mr. Load Management. So much respect for his career. And one, if you're a teammate, you're saying, well, get what, dude? First of all, you got enough money to buy your own your own NetJets pass, save it, but you want to get it for free. But a house and all this, stop it, dude. That guy wore number 23 in Chicago and 23 and a different number in LA, and he's still playing. Slow your roll. Good player championship, but the difference you're making, and you got to play 82 a year or 80 a year for me to even consider that. And then the money. Hey, who doesn't? Yeah, I want to get paid by everything, and I don't want to show up to work. You don't get load management in the construction business. I mean, what a shitty slap in the face your team is. I don't ever blame anybody for asking, but it's also the ownership. To him to ask that, I'd have laughed and said, dude, we love you. We're paying you all this money. You can have 25 hours a quarter on the team playing when it's not in season. And, hey, we'll pay your down payment on your house, but the rest is on you, dude. I mean, I pay you enough to do it. You're a super max guy or whatever it is he's making, right? Yeah, it's like it starts to reek of Kawhi Leonard. Everything matches of who people think he is now. Yeah. And then when you're cutting these corners, we're supposed to hold owners to higher standards, correct? And when they know this is happening, it's just basically saying we are going to cheat the system and hopefully not get caught. What Kawhi should have done is on his phone done a fake commercial, sent it to him so they had a little – if you're going to cheat it, prove that, okay, yeah, he did this for them. Or his name's on the website and you show up and he had one appearance for $7 million a year. Yeah, dude, come on now. And imagine now if other teams were doing this, what we'd be doing. Now, as nice as Kawhi's been and quiet and all that, don't kid yourself. There's a wolf in sheep's clothing going on in a couple of them, it appears, with the Clippers. I'd want it all too. It's laughable. You can't play 50 games a year and come back to me and think that you're – I don't know how many he played last year, but it's a trend. He's not worth that much money or, quite frankly, all those perks right now. He's just not, and they need to be punished, yet it plays right into the load management anyway. So what is the punishment? There you go.
I mean, you say like, oh, just like cut a commercial on your phone or just go sit for a day and do a fucking commercial. Just do a real commercial.
Dude, you know what, Segs? Take 5 of them. Do 5 big ones. Put on, change your shirt 5 times and
that's all you
down while the camera's following. Hey, man, I like this. And look at this. What was it again? It's a tree. Show your property without your address and walk in front of it and say, hey, this is what I do. Look at this, man. They put this tree in and we also add a tree for every tree we plant or whatever it is, right? And then do 5 of those with just change your outfit. It'll take you 3 hours. and then put it on there. And then you know what? Nobody would have found out. It would have fallen. Pablo, and great job digging by Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
But what would have happened is they would have run into a roadblock. Well, dude, you could pay him $100 million if you want to.
Yeah, you could pay whatever you want.
That's on the company. But if you're paying it for free, and then you admit you're circumventing the cap, dude, if they let him off with a hand slap, and you know what, the guy who owns that team's got a lot of money. He needs to be hit. And it's no money's going. $1 million fine's not going to affect him.
Right.
You got to keep him out of the arena. Like, remember when Daniel Snyder couldn't do anything? I know it's for different reasons, but this is just blatant cheating and almost encouraging it and telling your guy, yeah, we'll pay you $28 million for 4 years, and you don't have to do a damn thing, dude.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
they circumvented it all right. No doubt.
You mentioned punishments. So here's from Yahoo what they believe the punishments could be for Kawhi, and then what they could be for the Clippers / Steve Ballmer. For Kawhi, it's your contract voided. So any contract years you have remaining with the Clippers, that immediately gets voided. He has to return. So however much money he's got from aspiration has to be returned, although that's bankrupt. So I don't know how that works.
Make him donate it to charity. Say
yes.
Make him donate it to charity.
And then Kawhi could be fined up to $350,000. It doesn't say anything about a suspension. Now he should be suspended, but it did not mention in what I saw about a suspension.
$350,000. Stop it. That's he's making $28 million for not doing anything.
Right.
$350,000 tip money to him. He's going to spend that on a vacation. Okay.
Yes.
But for me, no. Here's what I do: I suspend him without pay for 25 games or whatever it is. I mean, let's just say 25 for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I make him either show up at charity events where trees are planted for another company, or you take, let's say, I didn't get the contract was 2 years into it. Whatever it is, you say, okay, pay the money back, and you're going to donate $10 million of that to charity. And now you want to talk about impact? Screw the 350. Hey, pay it, donate 50% back to charity. You're suspended without pay for 30 games. Ballmer, you'll $5 million fine, and you are suspended. You can't go to the arena for the same amount of games that he's not there. You watch the games from home, and then we'll talk after that. And it's an indefinite suspension. We say 25 games, and at the end of 25 games, we will we'll readjust to see where they are. There ain't no parole. You go 25 games, and you got to hit them hard. And I got news for you: $14 million of the 28. That's hard hitting. That's a lot. And 325 games without pay. Now, you know who's going to fight it? The union. But how can the union fight it? Because you're basically now, all the other teams ain't fighting it. We're the players union. We play on the other teams that this guy cheated with to get an advantage. Yeah. And I normally am not a pussy. It's not a pussy thing. It's like, so if you don't suspend him, where's the line? If you were only going to hit him for $350,000, wouldn't you circumvent the cap if you're another team? Oh, it's only going to cost us a $350,000 for him and $1 million for me if I'm the owner. What's that to those guys? The price. I asked Mark Cuban one time years ago, would he sacrifice $1 million for a win in person in an interview? I said, well, okay, a win, or would you pay $1 million for a win? He said, I'll pay the $1 million.
Yeah.
He told us that when on Dan Patrick, we interviewed him in person. He said, I'm paying $1 million. So what? Yes. That's how bad he wanted to win. I believe it with the way he is in business, right? I get that. So these guys, the only way you hit them is you take away what they love to do or hit them hard in the wallet. And $350,000 and no suspension, bullshit.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Now for the Clippers, they had more. You forfeit draft picks like years,
which is the first thing, right?
Suspend Ballmer and any other front office person that knew. And
which the person who handles the cap knows.
Yes,
right.
Yes. They would all be suspended up to one full season, like you mentioned. Those guys would each be fined $1 million, and then the organization could be fined. And this might just be part of the way the contracts are written with owners and stuff. He could be fined up to $7.5 million for the organization.
And you know what? And they fight it. Comes down to $5 million suspension. You give them a full year. Why not? But here's the thing. If you're going to hit the Clippers that hard, They can win without Ballmer and his enthusiasm, and that's not affecting their performance, right? Yeah. So you're doing this. So the guy who took the money and has all these provisions gets $350,000 and no suspension after he made $28 million to do nothing,
and he becomes a free agent.
Because you're going to say, like anybody else, oh, it's Kawhi Leonard. If I can get 55 games out of him, hell, I'll get 25 a game and good defense. I know he's going to beg out of 25 of them or be hurt. Right. Okay, but he's going to go get money and not have to pay back anything that you earned. Come on, man. You got to hit the player just as hard as you hit it. Now, the organization, because they're held to a higher standard, but you can't hit the player who makes $8 billion for $350,000 and he doesn't have to miss a game possibly. Yeah. No, I understand not giving him a year, but 25 games without pay, that'll sting for everybody. And that's called being a bad teammate because you put the organization in a bind. Simple. And the organization played along.
This investigation is going to take some time, but it's going to be fascinating to see what continues to pop out every few days, every few weeks, whatever it may be, until this
you're not going to hear the end of this, Segs, until we're part of either halfway through. We'll be in 2026 before this is even solved.
Yeah,
or even close to it for that point.
There's talk of after the All-Star break.
There you go.
When they
I was about to say sometime in March or April of next year. Yeah. That's what I envision.
All right, and one more thing wrapping up. I just saw this a little bit ago too. It's NBA related, so let's get it in right before the end of the show. Talks of NBA Europe, a new league that will start in either 27, probably too early, but 2028, be all over there. We'll have teams like Real Madrid. It'll kind of be like a lot of the soccer teams, PSG, which is there in Paris. Manchester United is going to start a team. And then there's
and those soccer clubs got a lot of money, Segs. They're a lot of money.
Some of the bigger organizations already in Europe will join the team. It's supposedly right now they plan on starting with 16 teams. And then, I mean, I'm one. I would like to see it as kind of like the G League where each team has their own and you can kind of stash players. I hope it's something like that where you can draft a European guy and then boom, he goes to, once you get 30 teams over there, boom, he goes to Manchester United. If it's the Bulls, they're partnered with Manchester United. They can get their own guys, but if I draft someone from France and I'm like, okay, he needs 2 years in Europe, boom, that's the team he's on. And they can develop them how the Chicago Bulls
it becomes a G League type of thing with a pro league getting probably paid a lot more money.
Yeah, get more money and better basketball.
Right. Oh, no question. And some physical basketball
because too. I mean, let's be real. The G League's a joke. I mean, Bronny goes there and does incredibly well, and then he walks back in the NBA and it's like he's never played basketball before. So we need that better league, and hopefully that's what this can be, even if it's not for each team and it's just a good spot for guys to go play after you draft them and say, hey, go sign with the team over there. Work out for 2 years.
Well, if you don't have as many team stakes, what you do is you affiliate one team with 3 organizations and say you pluck who you want, right?
Right.
But however you get, it's like the waiver wire. You passed on it, we want, that kind of thing. If that's the case, I don't know how you do that, the logistics wise, but interesting. Here's what I think. I don't think it's possibly going to happen. I think it's a guarantee.
Yes,
the Silver wants to go global, and I don't know what the analytics or the numbers of evidence and numbers say, Segs, but and it's not European, but on different continents. Aside from soccer in Europe and other places, China basketball is really popular.
Yep.
And really popular. In South America, we had some really good South American players, and obviously European countries. They want to get global so bad, and they want to. This is not a possibility. I don't know if it'll be a feeder or just another league that gives them big money. They have the money to fund it. They'll have backing from a lot of good European. You don't think a guy like Nikola Jokic may even say at the end is like, I'll go play my last 4 years here and make. I'm just using those guys as an example.
And this just popped in my head. Remember what I said? Was it Monday, Tuesday? I don't know. Whenever it was, Brian Windhorst just happened to mention, "Oh, LeBron, this might be his last year in the NBA, but he may go play in another league. So if he plays 2 years in the NBA and then boom, NBA Europe starts." And Manchester United,
and it's part of building and even Adam Silver says this is good. Go build globally, right?
We've got fucking billions of dollars. Hey, LeBron, come play 2 years and we'll give you $500 million.
It's John Rahm's live contract. That's what it is.
It's just like, and you mentioned soccer. We see these Neymar's contract and the money thrown around at those soccer contracts. That's what it could end up. And that's where it's going to be interesting. Does it end up hurting? If you start seeing those contracts, does it hurt the NBA in the U.S. if guys are being like, well, screw this.
And making the same money? Yes.
Yeah. If guys like Jokic, like, I don't want to go to the U.S. I want to stay in my country.
Even though it's Saudi money, they have
there.
Even though it's Saudi money, they have, they're playing games in Spain. I mean, golf tournaments in Spain. I'm talking about Live. And you saw, had Live come and offered you $200,000 to leave guaranteed, nobody's taking it.
Right.
But you offer them $300 million, Dustin, they're gone. And especially if you're at the point where you say, I don't know, not John Rahm, but who turning down $500 million or whatever it was. But if you're a fringe player that's a top 100 player, but you're 100, and they say here's 35 or 40 or 100 million, why wouldn't you? Especially if you're at the point in your career, you say, you know what, I don't know how many more I'm going to win. This is guaranteed money. But in basketball, what I was going to say is global. Excuse me. I can make the argument, I guess, that globally, outside of soccer, basketball may be more popular than some other pro sports in the U.S., right? Because they travel a lot and do it, and they do, the feel good. Put it this way, excuse me, the NBA, the NFL is trying to be who the NBA is on the global field for NBA players, and they're trying to get to it, and they will. But if you're LeBron and you're at the end, you say, I'm going to play one more year, and all of a sudden they say, dude, come here, spread the wealth. And I'm sure Adam Silver would say, dude, we want to go global. Be an ambassador for us. Go make yourself another $500 million for 2 years. They've got it. Spread it. And then what we want you to do at the end, not Adam Silver, but spread this thing. You're going to take some fellas with him. And if the money's competitive and the guys like it, who doesn't want to have a basketball season playing in some great European country and they paid you $100 million for 2 years? Of course you would. So this isn't a matter of if, and I don't know what the money's going to look like or how it's going to be structured. This is not a matter of if, it's a guarantee. There will be another league, and NBA personnel and players will be involved.
How long? Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years until we see this league that will start? They're saying by 28, this league will be going with at least 16 teams. Let's say they're at 30 teams in 10 years.
Okay.
Now you got 30 in the States. How long until it's just it's an actual world championship now, where it's like two different conferences? We got the East and the West right now. Now we play, maybe we keep East and West, however you want to do it. And then the champion now goes and plays the European champion.
Why wouldn't you? We're doing the Little League World Series.
And that's where if guys stop coming over to the States to play in the NBA and they stay there and that league becomes great, now you're making a lot more money. We're talking, they already make billions.
Follow the money trail, though, brother. That'll be the end result. Follow the money
billions trail. And billions, tens of billions of dollars each year.
Right. The question for me would be if you match team for team, right? It was 30 in both, right? 30 in the NBA, so 30 teams in Europe. If you got to the point in a decade that you had team for team, my only concern is, will you have enough great players? Star power sells, right? Hence why spring football leagues have a hard time making it. Star power. Mm-hmm. We don't have the star power. People want star power. Even if the star power is a little bit aged or over it, they want star power. And so will you be able, fielding 60 teams, compete the two, and still all that money? Now, right now, Live, they got star power, dude. If it would have been, they got Terrell Hatton and John Rahm and DeChambeau. They've got star power. That's why they can still survive. And you see crowds growing. Depending on, I don't know what's going to happen with their merge or what have you. Same thing here. Will you have enough star power to make it a league where it's like, it's U.S. versus Taiwan in the Little League World Series. Mm-hmm. We have we're Little League World Series state champion, U.S. champion, and then we want the world champion. And then in here, does some team like in Manchester that they put together, do they have enough stars for the star power to say, okay, it's us versus you. Let's go. This is a this is a world classic, but it's on a day-to-day basis, our champ versus your champ, because you got a bunch of our stars and we got some of yours. And Europe guys would come here and some of the States guys would go there. It's going to happen because the money trail is going to tell you it's going to happen, and it is.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating few years for the NBA. And maybe this is what they need, something like this, because I tell you what, Sean, I don't watch a lot of NBA because it's boring basketball.
I'm a bigger college hoops fan than I am NBA right now.
Yes, I am too. And yeah,
and that bums me out because I used to set my clock by NBA game segs. Now it's to the point where if I catch the last 8 minutes of a game, I'm good.
Right. I mean,
sucks too. I hate it.
I watched a handful of Bulls games this past season. I didn't even think about the league pass, like watching.
Now think about a decade ago, Segs, or 15 years ago. Yeah. You wouldn't have missed one. Anytime it was on, that was, even if it was your background noise that was on. Now it's like, not tonight.
I'd rather watch a TV show or something.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
The NBA you used to tape the TV show and watch the NBA. Now, let me just, I'll catch the highlights of the NBA on SportsCenter and then I'll watch my show. Yes, that's kind of how it's got. So I think the NBA's got some fixing to do, but global at the top of it. Segs, before you close it out and tease what's up next is Flash Funding, guys. So grateful for the partnership, not only on here, but my partnership with them. And I'm also a customer. Flash Funding. Flash Funding is based in Houston, Texas, right here. Family-owned and operated company led by experienced factoring professionals. Sean, what's factoring? Well, here's what it is. Your company can't wait 30 to 60 or 90 days. Flash-funding.com to be paid for services provided. You've already provided and rendered your services from your business, and you're purchasing accounts receivable, turning invoices that may be paid sometime in the future into fast cash. That's who Flash Funding is. So you got your invoice, you've rendered services, and you're like, okay, now pay me. And it's 30 days, and it's 60 days, and 90 days. You're like, man, I'm trying to expand. I've got payroll to reach. And you say, well, how do I do it? Well, how you do it is you better get a hold of Flash Funding. As a customer, I needed it for my business. I did. And in 3 days after filled out the necessary paperwork that y'all got to go through, in a matter of 3 days, it was directed to my account so I could pour it into my business and meet payroll that I needed, but also meet the needs I had to expand what I'm trying to get done. And that's who Flash Funding. They are going to collect the receivables. It provides factoring services for companies anywhere in the U.S., helping you maintain cash flow, which is so important. Listen, you can have the greatest business in the world without cash flow. How you expand it and reach your payroll, your immediate payment for your invoices is what Flash Funding does, the immediate payment, and let them go get those receivables for you. And for them, after they've, given you that upfront, which they did for me as a customer. So you need that fast cash. You need that cash flow for immediate payment, for factoring services, giving business owners financial security, giving you the freedom to expand. And who doesn't need both of those? And finally, meet payroll and explore new opportunities. You don't meet payroll, guess what? You lose quality employees. That's who Flash Funding is. Apply with us, review our customer credit, buy your invoices so they can go out and collect the receivables and give you the cash, transfer funds directly to you. It took about 3 days for me to get mine on my business. They'll do it for you. It's Flash Funding. Those factoring services that you can't wait 90 days to get paid from services you've already rendered. Working capital in a flash. Flash-funding.com. I'm proud to be a customer and proud to be a partner now, and so grateful for their commitment to this show and what we're doing here on Unpaved. Flash-funding.com. Good stuff today, Segs, man. There's so much going on, man. You need a 10-hour show to catch any of it, brother. You need to try and catch even a third of it. There's no doubt.
And what I like about this college football weekend, and we'll break down some of these games tomorrow, is the good games we have this weekend are a lot of the teams we haven't even gotten a chance to talk about. Illinois, Indiana is going to be a fun one. Michigan, Nebraska, Miami, Florida we'll get into a little bit. There's a lot of good sneaky games. Clemson, Syracuse, I think, is a sneaky game. So there's a lot on Saturday to watch and see what happens, because this could determine a lot in the conferences, the college football playoff. Illinois, Indiana, the loser could kind of just be out of the college football playoff just because of the brand they are. They're not going to go, 11-1. This could be the game that they need. So they're pushing for it, but they're not quite there yet, in my opinion. But a win this weekend for one of those two teams could launch them right into all that talk with all those other teams.
And the Heisman Trophy is flat ass wide open materially, but there is still plenty of moving space for that. There's no doubt. And to make an impression, Segs, before we go, this will blow your mind because you've known me for a long time and know my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge is getting married this weekend.
That's crazy.
And just so people know, Hawaii, Kona, Hawaii, golf and marriage. Now, it's a little sidebar blessing. It's good sun. He's not having it in the winter where it's freezing, but great. He's got a great fiance, great family. I'm proud of him. It's like, I cannot believe my kid's getting married.
I know.
Right? I got another one engaged, and it's like, wow. So we may have to, just for tomorrow. Monday we'll be back on because the time change. I'll be doing it live from Hawaii for our show at noon, as always, here Central.
Yep.
For the time change. Tomorrow may be, and we may have to adjust the time because depending on that. So people just be patient with us. But I'd love to say I'm doing the show at the same time tomorrow, but I got a kid and he's getting married, and as the dad, I probably have to be there. Just a hunch.
Yeah, okay? and you get to fly to Hawaii. So I mean, let's just be truthful. You know, use your rhetoric. Don't.
The first time somebody bitches about getting to, my bitch is, it's a 7-hour flight or an 9-hour flight from Texas through LA to Hawaii. Yeah, bitch, I don't want to hear about you complaining. You're landing in Kona. Okay, so no doubt, golf courses are plush. The weather's good, and my boy's getting married, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Bring a tear to my eye, but we'll discuss that over the week. And by Monday, he'll be married, and we'll be able to talk about what the ceremony was like and if Dad made a fool of himself during the speech. Other than that, my son, I'm proud of him, and he's going to be a great husband. So
he will be, and we'll get to talk about how bad your golf game was in Hawaii.
Oh no, I'm going to tell you, dude, I'm a solid ball striker.
You're going to
solid ball striker. I went from the volcano to
Hawaii, over under 109.5.
Dude, I haven't shot 100 in 15 years. Okay, and even at Pebble I ain't shooting 100. I'm going to tell you I'll tell you what I'll shoot the first round. 83, 82, possibly, unless that's if I'm just playing. If I 3-putt, no way.
90s.
I'm not shooting in the 90s, and I'm going to put everything out. I put 2-footers because you know why I put 2-footers? Because I've missed 800 2-footers in the last year. So I'm going to put them out. I'm going to go out and I'll keep honest score. I'm transparent. I got a lot of work to do.
If you shoot in the 90s, we'll know it because you'll come back all pissed off. That
dude, if I shoot in the 90s when I show up here on
Monday, you're going to ruin the wedding.
I'm going to be mad at my son. I'm going to be cussing you out. I'm going to play like 5 rounds or so. If I come back on Monday and the smile, I say, it must have been a great wedding. Oh, yeah, the wedding was great. Well, let's talk about how sharp I was on the golf course. You know damn well I might break 3 clubs right here sitting on this show just for the hell of it. But I tried to get out of the club breaking business from 25 years ago because you think you're competitive. You're like, that's expensive. How about throwing the ball in the water? That's even though Pro Vs or the Bridgestone costs a lot of money, I don't even want to throw those anymore. Put a few range balls in to throw those with a stripe on it. But you're right. Monday morning shows up and I play bad golf. I'll be pissed until I get out Monday and play. You can rest assured I'll be wearing that emotion. Guaranteed.
All right. Well, pay attention tomorrow we'll let you know what time we're going to do it, and
find it on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered or Unpaved on Rumble or at Segs at Adam Sager. It's underscore, right? Seg, you got to. Are you an underscore?
No, Adam G Sager.
G Sager. Okay, no underscore.
Adam
so there
G.
you go.
Sager, no
you can get that. We'll give you all the update on the time tomorrow. Heading into the weekend. So we appreciate you being back to normal on Monday.
Yes, and we'll break down all the football games and any breaking news that we get. Hell, maybe we get more Kawhi Leonard stuff as well. We'll talk about
Always love talking about it. But in the meantime, he's probably resting on his couch taking load management. I got news for you. They didn't put a new tree in at his house.
Yeah, he took a load management day from his wife. He's probably got ice on his knees just sitting on the couch being like, I need a day.
If you get a load management day, maybe have him build you another home on the beach somewhere. What the hell? Why not? Circumvent these nuts while you're at it. Okay?
All right. Thanks to Triple E. Thanks to Laura. Thanks to everybody. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.